Welcome back guys to Movies Recaps. Today I'm going to describe The Gifted. The initial scene starts with Blaine Adler sent a 7-year-old young lady named Mary to school. He advises her to act ordinary there, however Mary despises school. The educator Bonnie Stevenson inquires undeniable level numerical inquiries, however Mary addresses each inquiry, despite the fact that she is a small kid. While straight to the point is getting Mary, Bonnie stops and lets him know that Mary is gifted. Anyway, straightforward declines asserting that it is essentially due to the Trachtenberg technique, the strategy wherein the mind can tackle numerical conditions rapidly. The following day Bonnie poses fundamental inquiries to each kid, however convoluted inquiries to wed, which Mary answers rapidly and without any problem. Bonnie then leads a Google look for the Trachtenberg techniques and Blunt Adler. One day Bonnie goes to a club to meet Honest and gets some information about Mary and her ability. Blaine then, at that point, illuminates that Mary is his niece. He additionally tells Bonnie about Diane Adler. Mary's mom was an incredible mathematician who endeavored to tackle the never stirs up condition. Blunt case is that when Diane became pregnant her mom Evelyn kicked her out of the house. Evelyn, likewise an incredible mathematician, needed her little girl to tackle the never stir up condition and gain popularity. He likewise shares that, after she conceived an offspring with Mary, she deserted her and took her own life at 27 because of melancholy. The following day a little child climbs the transport, furthermore, strolls to his seat, grasping his zoo project. The other more established kid on the transport handles him, wrecks him, and menaces him, obliterating the whole undertaking. In the wake of seeing that, Mary becomes rankled and also strikes the kid in the nose, causing him to drain. Thus the chief contacts Blunt to communicate his uneasiness. The chief encourages Forthcoming to send Mary to Oaks Institute for gifted training. Be that as it may, Blunt demands that Mary ought to remain in a similar school since Blunt likes Mary to raise her like a typical kid as opposed to a talented or interesting one. The following day Mary apologizes for her conduct and acclaims the kid zoo project, saying it was awesome of all. At the point when Forthcoming and Mary return home from school, they see Mary's grandmother Evelyn standing outside the entryway. Evelyn discovers that Mary is a virtuoso and believes Mary should satisfy her desire, so she gives Mary a MacBook with different numerical issues. Following this, Blaine and Evelyn contend in an inn about Mary's ability. Evelyn needs her granddaughter to settle the most testing conditions, flaunt her ability to the world and get acclaim, however Honesty contradicts it. Therefore Evelyn documents a guardianship body of evidence against Honesty. Honest is addressed in court by Greg Cullen and Aubrey Highsmith addresses Evelyn. Under the watchful eye of choosing, the adjudicator researches Mary's day-to-day environment. Following this, straight to the point, asks his neighbor Roberta on the off chance that Mary can remain with her. Roberta reveres Mary, and when she learns about the case she becomes mad and it's straight to the point. She gripes he has consistently overlooked her admonitions about the issues Mary would face, and it is currently past the point of no return. Bonnie meets Honest late around evening time at the bar and guarantees him that she hasn't told anybody about Mary's ability. The two of them sit, what's more, and have a couple of beverages. Sooner or later they both revisitation of Honest's place and start to feel cozy. Bonnie first asks whether Mary is at home, yet bluntly guarantees her that Mary won't come as she is with Roberta. The next day Mary shows up straight at the Point's place to look for a Blu-ray player and sees Bonnie, bringing about an off-kilter circumstance for both Bonnie and Forthcoming. Later Forthcoming gets a letter from the court permitting Mary to visit Evelyn in Boston for a couple of days. Mary looks at photos of her mom, also Grandma, at Evan's home. She then discovers that Evelyn was an extraordinary mathematician before and tracks down at Cool. The following day Evelyn drives Mary to MIT, furthermore acquaints her with the teacher. He causes Mary to tackle the intricate issue, in any case, she neglects to do as such. Evelyn becomes troubled in light of the fact that Mary couldn't tackle it, returning Mary informs Evelyn that the condition is off base. Evelyn returns her to the teacher and trains her to settle by correcting the condition. Therefore she settles the whole issue. The teacher then, at that point, asks why she didn't tell him prior, to which Mary answers that straightforwardly showed her not to write elderly folks. Following 2 days Mary gets back to Blaine. Mary tells Forthright that she doesn't need to live with Evelyn on the grounds that she is bossy. She then tells candidly that she needs to remain with him. A woman named Pat Golding shows up from the court a couple of seconds later to mind Mary's prosperity. Mary examines Roberta and communicates how much she appreciates investing energy with him. She wants to accompany Honest, expressing that he is a decent individual. Pat inquires as to why she has this impression and Mary answers that Forthcoming treats her as an ordinary youngster and not a virtuoso. The following day in court, Evelyn presents Bradley Pollard guaranteeing him to be Mary's dad. In any case, Greg Cullen deftly handles the case and wins the contention. Forthcoming then gets back and illuminates Mary about her dad's appearance in court. At the point when she hears this, Mary ends up being disturbed what's more, locks herself inside the room. Guaranteeing that assuming that you were a dad, he would have visited his little girl. Roberta tells Candid that he shouldn't have shared it since it wasn't required. The following scene happens in court, where Greg Cullen illuminates the appointed authorities about Diane's beau Paul. He moreover lets the court know that Paul and Diane ran away together in light of the fact that they were enamored and also needed to be with one another. Mr. Cullen likewise illuminates Diane that Evelyn didn't permit her girl to partake in any exercises other than arithmetic. Evelyn documented a body of evidence against Paul, which caused Diane and Paul to be disconnected. Evelyn then becomes incensed and says that Diane was a splendid kid. What's more, she didn't believe that she should lose center in view of things like this. She likewise adds that an individual like Diane has worked on the expectation of everyday comforts of the present society. Mr. Highsmith claims that Forthright just needed Mary since his sister Diane was popular. Straight to the point answers by expressing that Diane wanted her girl to have companions and have an ordinary existence. After that, the court dismisses. Around evening time, M.R. Cullen meets Blunt and tells him to keep Mary in a temporary family. Straight to the point energetically denies doing so. However, M.R. Cullen convinces Straight to the point to meet a family for Mary. Hesitantly, Forthcoming visits to the family and their home seem, by all accounts, to be exquisite, complete with a piano as Mary had wanted. Subsequently, Evelyn and Blunt commonly consent to put Mary with a non-permanent family. Blunt then take Mary to the new family, what's more, attempts to convince her, yet she denies it. He leaves, passing on Mary to cry. Mary shouts Forthcoming, also, wails saying she wants him and needs to accompany him. Anyway, Forthcoming disregards her, furthermore, drives away, inclination horrendous. Roberta then again separates as the result. That evening, Straight to the Point burns the midnight oil and Bonnie shows up to encourage him. However, Straight to the Point articulates the amount he misses Mary and her way of behaving. He is disappointed with himself as they are isolated subsequent to living respectively for 6.5 years. Multi-week after the fact, Forthright meet Mary, yet Mary's new dad doesn't let Forthright meet her. Guaranteeing that Mary would rather not meet him, he additionally tells Forthcoming not to come back, since seeing Candid often makes Mary have a close-to-home breakdown. Franklin returns, giving Mary's new father the gift. One day, Bonnie sees an image of Mary's feline Fred at the reception place. She then sends the message to Blunt with respect to Fred. At the point when Forthcoming learns of this, he races to the reception community and gets some information about the feline. The secretary illuminates him that it was brought here by a woman who guaranteed to be unfavorably susceptible to it. Forthcoming understands Evelyn is the one, since she is sensitive to felines. Therefore, Honest and Roberta hurry to the temporary family. At the point when they arrive they see Evelyn and another two mathematicians educating Mary about the complicated issues that Evelyn educated Diane. Forthright quickly becomes angered at Evelyn for playing a game to acquire Mary's guardianship by implication. He discovers that Evelyn needs to satisfy her desire by settling the never stirs up condition through Marion acquiring popularity. Straight to the Point then welcomes Mary to go with him, yet Mary is irritated and runs out. Straightforward follows her and apologizes, provoking Mary to excuse him. Mary then wails and says she was sad when they took Fred away. Yet Straight to the Point guarantees her that he found Fred, what's more's, alright at home. Forthright then get back to Evelyn with an arrangement telling her that Diane addressed a never stirs up condition prior to kicking the bucket. Yet, Diane wouldn't distribute it in light of the fact that she didn't need Evelyn to assume praise for it. Forthright additionally adds that Diane guided him to give it 1 year later. Evelyn passed on. Candid then gives Diane's answer for Evelyn and surrenders full authority of Mary, after which Candid, Roberta and Mary cheerfully drive back home. Evelyn then, at that point, understands her slip-up and shouts out of her responsibility. Mary then, at that point, selects at MIT to study significant level math according to her interest, and after her investigations straightforward drops Mary off at school to play and have a ball with different offspring of her age and begins to carry on with day-to-day existence. That was all from the video. I wish you love it. Subscribe for more recaps like this and hit the bell button to help the channel. If you like, you can share your opinion about the video in the comments.